Thanks again for staying with us on the program TMI on the ITV radio network. We get into our first talking point on the show for about 45 minutes, looking at the build-up to the state governorship election with all the issues coming to the front burner. The most talked about issue is the need to eschew violence. On Thursday, pandemonium broke on the airport road axis of Benin City with the arrival of the reinstated embattled Deputy Governor, Comrade Philip Shaibu. And sporadic gunshots, people scampering for safety. The roads was completely devoid of vehicle and human movement, except for the thugs who were brandishing weapons of different kinds with the full glare of security agents. That's not what we want in Edo 2024. We want the parties to go out there, talk to Edo people, campaign, showcase what they have, their vision, their manifesto. That's the focus. And that's a takeoff point on the show today. Let me welcome to the studio Prince Kazim Afegwa, who is the Director of Media, APC Edo 2024 Campaign Council. Thank you for joining us, Prince.
It's a pleasure.
We also have with us in the studio a member of the PDP campaign media team, Christopher Ojekere. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning, Samuel.
We have joining us virtually Bob Manuel Umoru. Bob Manuel, many thanks for joining us on the program, is also a supporter of Senator Mando Okpebolo. Thank you for joining us, Bob Manuel.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Edo people.
Okay, we'll be linking up with Fares Okberi, who is the Deputy Director in charge of social media for the PDP campaign in this conversation. But let's get started. Prince, let me start off with you. Thursday's event brought to the fore one major concern about the average Nigerian as far as politics is concerned in this country. And it's not a case of accusation and counter-accusation. Was that situation avoidable, or it was premeditated like we're hearing on both sides?
Thank you very much for the opportunity of this discussion. I don't think we need to belabor the issue. The candidate of the APC was returning from Abuja to Benin, and as well as the reinstated Deputy Governor of the state. They have business at the premises of the Benin airport, and so you wouldn't say what were they doing there. But you cannot say the same thing of those thugs are members of the Edo security network that were at the exit gate of the Benin airport. So the provocation came from those persons who had no business at the airport, who were at the exit gate of the Benin airport, that led to the sporadic shooting and all that, which incidentally claimed the lives of Inspector Onu Akko and all that, and other persons sustaining injuries. I think if you look at the pattern of the sporadic shooting and all that, it's peculiar with the insensitivity of the government in power in Edo State. It's peculiar with so many other attacks that have taken place in Edo. If you take a chronicle of what has transpired before now, you remember that there was a time that Adam Susumole was prevented from even coming to Edo, was declared persona non grata. He came, there was an attack of that nature. There was a time that Orogide made a point in National Assembly. When he came to the airport, he was harassed, and intimidated, even removing his cap. There was a time that even the street, Okorotu Street, where Oshomole lives, was also, blocked because they wouldn't grant him access to his house. And so there are quite a number of issues peculiar to this one that have happened.
Okay.
Lawrence Oka, the same thing. There was an improvised bomb explosion in his house. Izeyamu was attacked at Garrick Memorial. So when you look at this pattern, it's a pattern that follows, that carries, the symbol, so to speak, of the government in place. And so some of these things are avoidable if there could be less desperation on the part of government against opposition in the state.
Okay, let me pause you there. Chris, I'm sure you want to respond to that against the...
Yes, I think I agree with Kasim Afegbua that we should not belabor the point. But it's interesting that when all of this he had listed was happening, Philip Shaibu was with the governor. And now that Philip Shaibu had gone to the other side, we're also seeing the same trend of violence. And it just so happens that in almost all of this in Lim, Philip Shaibu was always at the scene. And he was at the scene again this time when it was happening. So that might point to Philip Shaibu as being the purveyor of violence. Now, he said those who caused it were those who didn't have business at the airport. So one would wonder what non-state actors like Kabaka, I mean, we have footages of all of this. The Edo State vigilante that is named by him has not been caught in one footage. But when we see footages, we see Kabaka and his boys. We see Philip Shaibu standing on top of a jeep and waving to the boys. So there are footages and they are replete. So that's why we should not belabor it. The case is in the hands of the police and it's in the hands of the IG. The policeman that was shot was shown in the footage as walking to the vehicle, escorted by other policemen. I would wonder why policemen will be there and then their colleague is attacked by non-state actors and policemen will be escorting the attacked person to the vehicle. And the person raised his cloth like this. When they attacked MBA, was that at the airport? When Kabaka was shouting to a particular person to say, you want to go attack Lawyer House? Kabaka is a well-known face and his face was there, his voice was there. Was that also at the airport? So the point is that what point would the government of the day have to cause chaos? I mean, we are settled and we are sailing smoothly. Our candidate is winning. We know what happened, that there was a court judgment, and Philip Shaibu did not have any patience to wait for the court processes to run its course. And then he came down. Now, to buttress my point, after the airport, what did he do? Rather than mourning a slain officer, he went to set up a parallel government and appointed staff as governor's, deputy governor's staff, and took photographs with them. Now, think of the insensitivity of people taking a dead body around the town. What happens normally when somebody is shot? Don't you take the person to the hospital? And a police officer, for that matter, they put him in the hills and they were going around the town because they are used to living with dead bodies. Ordinary people would have taken the person to the hospital. So the point is that what happened there was very clear. Philip Shaibu came, had asked his boys to wait at the airport. The police commissioner, by his own confession and by video footage, was at the airport, advising Philip Shaibu to suspend what he wanted to do. Did he hear? So the government of the day had no reason to create violence in the airport. We have no reason to cause destruction and disturbances in the state because we had no reason to do that.
Let me pause you there. We have Bob Manuel Umoru joining us virtually from Lagos. Bob Manuel, give me your take on how you followed up these incidents.
Thank you so much. You know, I've learned in life that when frustration has passed a particular degree, whoever is frustrated becomes so desperate and violent is the only option they resort to. The incident that happened on Thursday is something that the Edo State government should be ashamed of, and I expect everyone surrounding the government, including the PDP campaign team, to bury their heads in shame. There was a court order, a court judgment, reinstating the former deputy governor, who is now the deputy governor of the state. And then an injunction was given to the false defender, who is the Nigerian police, that they should ensure that the order is carried out. That was order 8. And then, of course, we have about 10 orders there. And the man has been out of the state for some time. On getting that judgment, he decided to immediately resume his office and boarded his flight to Benin City. Getting to Benin City, you know Philip Shaibu is a man of the people. Women, men, children, youth, everybody, they came out in their large numbers to welcome him. And luckily, he was in company of his friend, the APC candidate, just like Honorable Kasim said. And of course, before now, 2 months ago, I raised alarm. Last month, I raised an alarm, but nobody cared to listen. I said the process of 2024 is being tensioned by the Edo State government. And I have on good authority, after speaking to 3 commissioners last year, they told me everything we need to know. And I followed the pattern of events that has been happening, that it has been tension from the PDP Congress, to the primaries, and now to the electioneering process. And then you have untrained men in the disguise of ESN or political talks coming to shoot at a sitting deputy governor, and of course the gubernatorial candidate of APC, a sitting senator. And when I now watch the narrative they were given, they were trying to paint the event as though it was His Excellency Philip Shaibu that ordered the shooting, or the senator ordered the shooting. And I asked them, would His Excellency Shaibu ask his men to shoot at Senator Monday Okpebholo's aide, or would Senator Monday Okpebholo order the police who came around to pick the deputy governor that they should shoot his aide as to get what? And then when you now look at the story they are trying to make, it shows a set of people who are not remorseful of the act, of that shameful act that took place that day. If it was the Nigerian police that had accidental discharge, as they used to say, and it hit a citizen or hit a member of the Obasanjo's cabinet, it is the hand they will use in holding this kind of event. We must begin as a people to place premium on lives. Now there is an order. You said the commissioner of police was there to tell Philip Shaibu to go back. The Philip Shaibu that we know since he was impeached, he has been law-abiding. He even tried his best to stay up at those days because he don't want unnecessary jubilation or for his supporters to go on rampage, because everybody was aggrieved with what happened. So the man left the state for peace to reign. And the best you think you can do now is to ensure that the order that was given by the court, you ask Talk to go and push him back out of the state. The commissioner of police have said it explicitly. He was on air and he said that they are going to bring the killer of the police officer to book and those who went on that sporadic shooting. The commissioner never mentioned that there was a stay of execution order. And I have challenged them. I challenged Crusoe the other day. I challenged all of them making noise. If you said the commissioner was there to ask His Excellency Philip Shaibu to go back, he can only do that if there is a stay of order.
Yeah, there's something you said. I wanted to quickly get some more comments from you. You said Philip Shaibu arrived and his friends, his supporters were all there. We saw a lot of guys, wielding guys, gun-wielding guys, both at the airport, even at Airport Road. Were those his friends?
Those were the ones sent by Governor Godwin Obaseki to repel and disperse the crowd who came to welcome His Excellency Philip Shaibu. And there are video footages of this guy where they went on sporadic shooting. The police have confirmed that he was there. The police commissioner.
But Manuel, I'll come back to you in a moment. Let me quickly get to Fares Okbere, who has been waiting to join this conversation. Fares, quickly speak to us on the development and the cause that those behind this dastardly act should be brought to book after proper investigation by the police.
He mobilized to the airport. We must say it the way it is. It's not a matter of those behind. We must name those behind. And those we saw in that video are the likes of Philip Shaibu, Anthony Kabaka, and the likes of Ebo Stone. You know, those are popular faces in Benin. The police knows them. The police must go after those people. Those are the people who unleashed mayhem on the streets of Benin on Thursday last week. And there's no way to correct. Those guys should come and answer questions on why they mobilize trucks to the airport, why they disrupt activities, they smash people's cars the other day. You know, somebody who said he was coming to Benin to enforce a court judgment by himself that he had no right to enforce. You know, coming to Benin, you know, mobilizing trucks to the airport, and then you know, creating the whole violence that he created that day. He has questions to answer, and he must answer those questions. Philip Shaibu must be held responsible for all what happened that day. Tony Kabaka and the rest of them, you know, must be held responsible for all they did on that fateful day.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Prince, let me get back to you. This incident, has it overshadowed the real issues confronting the people and this election, as it were? If it hasn't, what are the real issues that Edo people should focus on as far as this election is concerned?
Yes, if you see...
No. In a moment. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sonny, I find it very disturbing when people tell bogus lies. Very ridiculous, very laughable lies. A man has been reinstated. He's in a jubilant mood. You are asking why his supporters at the airport to welcome him. When Aswe Godalu came back from Abuja recently over the issue of court, Did his supporters not go to the airport? Did you see anybody shooting? Instead of facing the real issues, the PDP and the government of the day are in a panic mood and causing mayhem. At the entrance, at the exit gate of that airport, there was a Sienna. The sticker on the plate number is also a campaign. There was a power bike. Who are the owners of power bike in the state? Are they not the government? Didn't you see them on the footage? Why do you sit back and you just tell lies? Can you reconcile this with the statement made yesterday by the governor himself when he threatened to burn down Nigeria? A governor of a state uttering those kind of words? Crass irresponsibility. And you sit down here, you continue to pontificate. What are you pontificating? When the police commissioner went to the airport, what was his business at the airport? If his business was to prevent any outbreak of law and order, what did he do afterwards? Did he do that? Was he not told of the impending crisis based on the noise they were hearing at the exit gate? Did he go out from the exit gate? These are the issues we should be asking ourselves. When we took the cops to the police headquarters, did he come out to address us? He didn't. The young man was taken to the hospital, UBTH. It was when he died that they brought his cops to the party office that they would took.
But I'm asking this question, yes. Prince. Why the choice of UBTH from Airport Road when there is a Faith Mediplex directly opposite? They didn't
accept because it's gunshot wounds. They didn't. Go and ask them. So it told you that the efforts were not made. And so in the process of that kind of unsettled atmosphere, they had to take him to the... It still got to UBT. 2 other people are receiving treatment there of the same gun wounds. They are there. As we speak now, they are still there. We went there that day to also see them. Then we went, after depositing the body at the police headquarters, the candidate now said, no, they should please tell us if they have their own mortuary as police. You know, it's an institution. So they now told us they can use that of the military base. So we accompanied them to deposit the body at the morgue, at the military base. Before we went around to go and check all the other 4 people who were fatally injured. So you don't come sitting down and be telling bogus lies. A man who is jubilating, will he be sending his own talk to kill his own person? I don't understand. Does it fly? How does this sound in the face of logic? A man who is jubilating, he has won this thing. And it is not the business of government to decide whether Shaibu should come to Edo or not. It is not. They have no business to stop any individual, any citizen of this state to come to Edo. Shaibu has a house ready, still throw to the government house. Are you going to stop him from coming to his house? A court has given him a valid declarative judgment with a consequential order. You don't tell me because you have filed an application to court because you want stay of execution. So because of that, the man should sit down and wait. Is that the manner of stay of execution? Is that the manner? Don't you have lawyers in this country?
But is it his responsibility to enforce that judgment?
Has he enforced? He was coming to the state to meet with his supporters, then meet the police so that they can enforce. The order is there, written boldly. Okay. There are several orders. And so it is the police to carry out their responsibility.
Okay, let me push you there, Prince. Chris, there's talk along the line that this incident happened because there was an attempt to deliberately enforce the judgment on the part of the reinstated deputy governor.
If you know the number of footages that are available in the public space, you won't be wasting words here. I mean, you can build the narrative, the statement of the police officer, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to belabor this. I'm very happy, though very sad, because it's a human being, that the person that was shot was a police officer. So I'm looking at the police, whether they are going to sacrifice one of their own to non-state actors brandishing weapons. Now, or they are going to do thorough investigation. So footages have people's faces and names. So why am I belaboring it? It's a distraction that it's meant to be. And we're not going to be distracted from the fact that Aswa Ighodalo is the candidate of peace. Aswa Ighodalo has not even been known to mention the name of his opponent in any campaign rally. Not to talk about inciting. We had 50,000 people on the streets, as Kazim rightly said, to welcome him. Not a scratch, not even somebody fell in a stampede. 50,000 people on the streets. They were well behaved because his crowd are like him. Well-behaved people. The preaching every day is that we should be cultured, we should be well-behaved, we should stop this agberoism. We are in Edo State and we are talking of Edo people who started cultism in universities and took it beyond the universities, who have track records. So why are we talking abstractions? We know those who are cult people, and we know those who are violent people. We know those who are lions and tigers, and they have been caught in footages. So why are we talking? We know those who are merchants of violence, and we know those who are cultured people. Asra Ighodalo is a cultured man, and his followers are cultured people. Godwin Obaseki is a cultured man. These are well-read people. So what we have in the state right now is a battle between pugnacity and culture and refinement. A battle between those who believe that they have to enforce court judgment. I mean, the lowest young man on the streets who is literate knows that it's bailiff that enforces court judgment. And the bailiff is escorted by the police. So why would court judgment start being enforced at the airport? Okay, what has NBA? NBA has petitions. Many other groups have petitioned. In fact, many places they were picking bullets from the floor that he says that he rejected them. I have somebody who works there who fed tear gas on the nose. So the police were there. They were supposed to respond, if not attacking their people. So that's why I'm leaving that. So to your question that you asked, so that is a distraction from the issues. The issues are that Edo State right now, we're in the season of anomie, where Edo State people are hungry, just like the 35 other states and the federal capital country is hungry because of the poor policies of the president, who happens to be APC.
Okay, let me pause you there, Chris. I'll come back to you in a moment. I'd like to quickly link up with Bob Umoru. Bob, I know you're in a hurry, so to speak. Quickly share with us the implication of this incident for the Edo State 2024 governorship election, particularly the electorates. We know that at the moment they are the kingmakers. I mean, making king or king-making has left the political parties, is now in the hands of the electorate. Let me get your take on this.
They have a godfather of the governor.
Thank you so much. I think I'm scared that there will be voter apathy by the action of Governor Obaseki's talk on Thursday. And of course, by the very, very careless and immature statement made yesterday by Governor Godwin Obaseki when he said Nigeria will burn. No, I say it on good authority as a political scientist and one who is more interested in issues of governance and policy making, that no responsible leader, no well-trained leader will make a statement that will promote violence in an already tensioned election as occasioned by him and his political talks that Nigeria will burn. And one of the things you must understand now is that Edo State is already tensioned. Aside the 2024 electioneering process, the poor performance of Governor Godwin Obaseki for almost 8 years has already caused a lot of issues in the heart of the people. And a lot of persons are already saying, I don't think we are going to vote. We've been voting, we are not seeing the dividends of democracy. And again, the APC candidates came to make promises. Okay, among this promise and of course the loss of hope as brought in by Godwin Obaseki, people are now beginning to say, okay, let us even participate. And then you now send your talks to go to the airport to shoot at your deputy governor and of course the candidates of the APC. What it really means is that I want to say it categorically. There's no smoke without fire. The desperation that Governor Godwin Obaseki has introduced to the process shows that there are lots of things in his cupboard that he wants to hide. And I would like to share some of them. Like most of the MOUs that were signed with millions of dollars without reality, among others, the failed educational system that he introduced, which is JUDGEMENT, where over 40 billion was said to have been expended. And of course, the Sobe Rice Farm that is a ghost, of course, only on paper. The intracity roads and all the inner roads and all the rest of them that he couldn't take care of. And of course, the lack of security, among others. And when I hear people say, they want to speak and say, Tinubu, the present commissioner for budget planning, Honorable Silama Okofu, is somebody very, very close to me. Honorable Kasim Afegwa can tell of the relationship between me and him. We sat down to say, I said, we keep blaming the president for XYZ. When all governors are receiving allocation, they generate money internally. What happens to developing the critical sectors within the state? And that is the issue we are having. All of this, you've made the people lost hope in governance. And again, instead of trying to retrace yourself, form reconciliation, and begin to do things differently, you are tensioning the process. So what it goes to show is that the people now lost more faith in Governor Godwin Obaseki and, of course, the PDP campaign team. So I expected that the APC...
But Madam, I'll come back to you in a moment. Forrest, quickly speak to the issues of how this incident will shape the election, what influence it will have on this election, or, like some say, the impact of the present administration is the defining moment for this election. Quickly.
By that incident that happened, Aswa Dadalo, as we speak, is on his campaign train this morning. He's going to Edo Central. And if you see that the PDP has been focused on the issues that are not getting to Edo people, and that is what we're interested in talking about. The APC, as we already know, have nothing to campaign with in this election. That's why they are trying to bring this kind of distractions to Edo people. And we know their history, we know their antecedents, and we won't be dragged into those kinds of issues. We want to maintain the issue. We've presented a candidate that is versed in the issues of Edo, that knows what it takes, that has a history of performance. That is what we are presenting to Edo people, and that's what we are selling to Edo people. But the APC, having presented a candidate that they are not bold to campaign for. They are not bold to bring out the candidate and show to Edo people. They want to drag issues that are not relevant to this election and drag us into a state where we will be discussing irrelevant issues, while putting the major issues that are important to Edo people behind the scene. We won't be dragged into that kind of politics. We will continue to tell Edo people the issues that are important to them, about the performances of the current governor, about where we are going as a state. We've asked that the candidate of APC should come out and debate his issues. The APC does not even have a manifesto. They don't have a manifesto for this election. A party who is going to an election in a state that have no manifesto, that have no agenda. That kind of party shows the antecedents. And looking at where Nigeria is, even looking at the APC and the performance of the current president, since 2015, the APC has taken Nigeria backward in the progression of backwardness. That's where they've taken Nigeria to. It's since 2015. Look at how Nigerians are suffering today. Nigerians are about to go into the streets next week to protest hunger in 2024. In 2024, when most countries have even have defeated hunger, Nigerians are still going back to protest hunger in 2024 under the maladministration of the Tinubu administration. Look at recently a serving senator who is the chief whip, complained that a bag of rice was now 100,000. That people are suffering. That even when he goes home, people are complaining to him every day that they are suffering. Instead of the president to address those concerns, instead of the president to address those issues that was raised by the senator, they went about removing him as the chief whip of the Senate. That is the kind of party that the APC represent. They don't like the truth. They don't have anything to offer. To offer Nigerians. That is why they want to drag this campaign, they want to drag the elections here into discussing the issues that are irrelevant.
All right, I'll come back to you in a moment, Forrest, if we still have the time. But let me get to Kasim. Governance is about impact. And in terms of that, the Edo people have a responsibility to have a spectrum of all the candidates for this election and make a choice. There are those who say that Governor Obaseki may not be on the ballot, but his party will, and what is done or hasn't done will be a defining moment for this election. Share with us your sentiments on this.
Well, thank you very much. I listened to the man who just finished speaking, and it's when people are sinking, that's when they try to clutch at every available float sound to stay afloat. The point is, you're asking questions. Is laboriously discussing Tinubu government. The 2 trucks of rice they just shared, where is those owned, the 2 trucks that came to Edo? Are you seeing government sharing it? Haven't you seen a situation where palliatives that were sent to this state were kept in warehouses without being shared? You see, it is easier and very convenient for people to criticize, but come up with constructive criticism and let us see what you won't have in your domain. Edo allocation has increased in the last 1 year since Tinubu came on board. They won't say that. 105 billion had gotten to Edo in 2023 accounting year alone. 10 billion was given for security, 7 billion was given for palliative. 17 billion plus one over, that's 122 billion. Ask them, where is the money? What have they done with the money? They will continue to divert attention to say, oh, Tinubu is doing, Tinubu is that. For the first time in the history of Nigeria, 1.3 trillion was what was shared just last week. And so when allocation increases, chances are that the state governors and all the other components of government will also show costs.
Are you saying these new allocations or these increases, they are not reflected in the...
They are not reflecting in even Edo State. I just told you rice. Didn't you hear that they shared rice? Where is Edo's rice? They keep them in their warehouses. They won't share to Edo people. You see, look at driving around the state. This was not the state we left for Obaseki in 2016. Of course, I had never supported Obaseki's aspiration for whatever it is worth, because I know that there won't be any magic from it. You can drive around, just like Bob Manuel Moro said. They preach all about Sobe Farm. You didn't see anything. They preach all about this. They preach all about that. You don't see them. It's all about... And Aso Egodalo, they are marketing. Is an advisor to the governor. If he could not advise the governor to perform and do well, why would he have a manifesto to be champion? It means that the boss he's working for has failed. That's what it means. Thinking logically now. You are an advisor to somebody, economic advisor to somebody, you organize this workshop, you organize this summit and all of that. But it doesn't translate to food on the table for the average Edo person. And you are now coming up, you are brandishing your own manifesto and say, this is what you want to do. Why didn't you tell Obaseki that let us do it this way so that the Edo people can benefit? Ab initio. Why are you not championing the cause? Obaseki talk about godfather, is he criticizing another? Why is he playing the role of a godfather now? You know, Obaseki is not just combative, it's not just quarrelsome. He has bifurcated the sentiments, the unity, the harmony of Edo people. Divide and rule tactics. If you go around, everybody is quarreling with virtually everybody. He was in APC, he quarreled with everybody. Odubu, who was nominated as MD of chairman of NDDC, he removed him by his own action. Victor Ekato was removed. Samson Osage was also removed from his own responsibility. And all that. These are Edo people. Adam Sushomole, from that side, he was removed as national chairman. Things that should be coming to Edo that to add value to us. He fought against them. Then he came to the issue of artifacts. Instead of you safeguarding our artifacts, he started quarreling with the palace. So there's nothing you want to say. In PDP, he came up with fight. I was in PDP when he came in, and I told them, I said, a man who is coming from APC, who is so quarrelsome and combative, you don't have to give him ticket. They never listen to me. Today, they are lamenting. Even
so that means you guys are part of the problem.
No,
that's what it means. If we're taking it on the surface value.
Which one?
If you say, you know, you spoke to them, they
listen.
didn't listen.
They didn't listen.
So,
that's PDP.
Yes,
I told them they didn't listen. After Godalo himself said when he came to the party, he thought there was a small problem. He came here and saw that they were divided up to there were about 4 or 5 factions. Okay. He put hand on his head and said,
okay, so let me pause there. Chris, quickly lap up on this. Let me get your reactions on all of this.
Okay, now I'm happy we are coming back to the issues.
Because you don't have much time?
Yes. Asra Godalo is coming to take Edo State from the 3rd ward to the 1st ward. A manifesto is necessary because you have to have a contractual paper to hold the governor to by the time he becomes governor. The first point in that manifesto is the well-being of Edo people. No other candidate has told us any plans they have for Edo people. And under the subhead of well-being is to remove hardship and hunger. That is the existential threat Edo is in right now. The entire Nigeria, the first thing anybody should be talking who wants to rule is how do you take care of our stomach? We are hungry by the deplorable policies of the APC government. So Asra Godalo is promising that by the time he gets in there, he has intervention funds for vulnerable, he has intervention funds for the elderly, he has intervention funds for the unemployed. Now that's removing hardship. So we want a governor who has empathy. I'm happy he knows that the state has issues with bifurcation and all of that. Because, for instance, the candidate from their place, the Shomole he mentioned, did he not choose a Benin man to become the candidate of APC? Was it not PDP that started to show that there has to be equity? And we went to Central. And people like him now ensured that they had the candidate from Central to bring equity. So we are leading the way in equity. How do you have peace if you don't have equity? And that is why we went to Central. You came late to equity. And you are blaming people who led you to equity. So the point is that as far as Edo State is concerned, our concern now is who is going to help us manage our resources. Ask him, why is their candidate not talking to Edo people? The man is mute. The only time they removed the mute from his mouth, they are saying Obaseki say, Nigeria will bomb. When we remove mute from, you know what he said yesterday? They said, oh, I don't know the day he said, the video is everywhere. He said, an armed robber is in government house, and another armed robber is coming in. He has even forgotten that he himself is campaigning to come in. And that if he were going to come in, God forbid, he would have been the second armed robber. So, you know, it is linguistic confusion. So the point is that the candidate of the APC is not talking to Edo people. The candidate of the PDP is talking to Edo people, and that's why you can criticize him. Because the man that is working, you criticize. He's telling you that he's telling you that we are going to have food.
Let him advise Obaseki to perform.
Obaseki is living in the next 2 months. He has
been advisor for 7 years.
Yes, and that is why we're able to get an ethanol factory here. We have 2 now. That's why we're able to get to Lugbo refinery. That's why we're able to get the best nursing hospital in nursing school in the whole of Nigeria. That's how we're able to get our own independent power grid working. He was the head of Alao Daro, and these were his initiatives. As Alao Daro, this is what we're doing in Alao Daro. So as far as Aswe Udalo is concerned, he's a gift, which we should all right. Don't forget the party, because I know that Kazim himself is a progressive. Rally round Aswe Ighodalo. Will you be proud to introduce Modokwe to an elite public?
More than
well, if you are proud to do it, he's going to embarrass you before if you leave there. Okay, they will embarrass you before if you leave there.
Let me push you. Let me push you guys. Let me push you guys. Let me get Bob Manuel, let me get your final take on this conversation before we let you go. Bob, quickly.
In 2016, so let's leave it there. Let's not come back to that. My final note on this is those who live in a glass have gone through stone. And there's this old proverbial saying that how do they put it? That charity begins at home. I have seen them trying their best to market Aswe Ighodalo, who for almost 8 years has been chairman economic team, and Edo State has never been this rich. Yet our people have never been this poor. Our state has never been this deplorable state. The insecurity we are witnessing today has never been this high. There's never been sporadic shooting and court activities and court killing in Edo State than this period we are in. And who is the head or the leader of the state? Governor Godwin Obaseki. And when I say charity begins at home. You only talk to a people that you know their history, you are aware and conversant with the peculiarity of their problem, you live with them, you stay with them, you eat with them. Not a people that you get an interpreter to speak to as if you are preaching in English and somebody is interpreting in Hausa or Yoruba or Igbo language. Not a people that for almost 30 years you've been in the corporate world with nothing to show that has affected the life of your people. Example, and all the preaching before they told us Aswe was the owner of Sterling Bank. Before we came out to say no, he was just XYZ in Sterling Bank, his own village. I challenge them to show us any building, no matter how small. This is where banking transactions take place in the name of Sterling Bank as an intervention of Aswe Ighodalo. I told you last year, 2023, the Nigerian breweries recorded this year that in 2023 alone, they lost 145 billion naira under the watch of Aswe Ighodalo. That will tell you, show me your friend, I'll tell you who you are. That will tell you the reason why Obaseki for 8 good years never became a progressive governor, never became a transformational leader, never became a leader that brought things to the front burner of the people where it leads them to prosperity economically. And that tells you why there is hunger in a state where even if you drop a grain of corn, it will germinate. I'm into agriculture, and at least I have sent many letters to the governor, especially on agriculture and of course
Fares Okbere. Yes, thank you, Bob Manuel. Thank you for your time. Fares, give me your final take on this conversation. Yeah.
APC is not a factor in this election. And I know people should open their eyes and completely reject a party that is known for poverty and hunger. Look Look at Nigeria today. Nigeria was relatively doing well in 2015 before the APC came. Today, Nigeria is poverty capital of the world. And the APC should be a party that Edo people should completely reject. Let them bring their candidate out, let their candidate come and tell Edo people what he has. If they have no agenda, they have no manifesto, and if their candidate cannot sell his manifesto, he should be rejected, and he will be rejected by Edo people.
All right, thank you very much, Forrest Okmeri. Let me also appreciate our panelists here in the studio, Prince Kazim Afegba. It's always a delight to have you here. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
And Chris, thank you for coming on the show.
No final word.
No final word, because our time is up. And Bob Mada, thank you again for coming on the program.